Hi, the following story is Part 1 of the murder of Alex Mussen at Pyramul Creek, New South Wales, in the summer of 1864. Alexander Mussen, a young man in his mid-20s, who embarked on a journey from Montreal, Canada in 1856. Deep in debt and having done wrong, he planned to seek out his fortune in the unforgiving Australian bush during the 1850s gold rush. He found himself amidst the bustling New South Wales goldfields and was hired by Joseph Sharpe, a storekeeper, to assist in various tasks around the store and look after baby Thomas. The store was a Cobb & Co. stopover where gold from the Hargraves and Windier gold fields would be stored overnight before being reloaded onto horse and cart for the trip through to Sally's Flat and then onto Bathurst in the central tablelands of New South Wales. In the summer of 1864, beneath the blistering sun of the Pyramul Creek goldfields, fortune-seekers still toiled for glimmers of wealth amidst dusty diggings and elusive nuggets. It was a place where hard work clashed with a sinister underbelly, where a few shady characters, rejecting honest toil, saw the earnings of others as fair game, if they could seize them without consequence. Amid this rugged landscape lived Thomas Sharpe, a man who combined the art of storekeeping with gold prospecting to eke out a living. His humble little store was an oasis for miners seeking supplies. Here, Sharpe conducted his trade, while his resilient wife, Anne, managed the store. One fateful night just after dark, 3 bushrangers, George Gibson, also known as Paddy Tom, and his accomplice James McGrath, Captain Moonlight, violently busted through the front door and into the store, yelling, "This is a hold-up, hands in the air, give us the gold or we will blow your heads off," catching the unsuspecting Alexander in the act of nursing baby Thomas. With remarkable courage, he quickly set the child down and confronted the intruders. It was alleged at that moment that George Gibson, the notorious bushranger also known as Paddy Tom, raised his shotgun and at point-blank range shot young Alexander dead. Joseph's wife, Anne Sharpe, was in the back of the house cooking when a gunshot pierced the air from the front room of the store, sending shockwaves through the household. Before Anne could react, one of the intruders appeared, grabbed her by the arm, and led her to the front room, where 2 other men lurked, and young Alexander lay dead on the floor. One of the bushrangers wielded a menacing shotgun. Her fate now rested in the hands of these ruthless thieves. The first robber handed Anne over to his accomplice and re-entered the back of the store, ready to plunder. But fate had other plans. The sound of approaching chaos, gunfire, shouts, and frantic footsteps interrupted his looting, prompting him to rush outside. There, he found his partners fleeing through the dense bush, and he followed suit. Joseph Sharpe, who had entered from behind a curtain in the bedroom doorway, brandishing a pistol, had opened fire upon the thieves before grabbing his trusty shotgun from the mantelpiece and made after the 3 men. Joseph fired at the fleeing men, wounding Paddy Tom in the wounded robber dropped his shotgun in the dry creek bed and fled into the darkness. Sharpe chased them until they crossed a creek. With unyielding determination, he shouted after them, "By the holy living Jesus Christ Almighty, I'll have you mongrel bastards, you have killed my mate Alex." But the outlaws, driven by fear, vanished into the night, refusing to heed the challenge. Anne stood clutching the discarded gun near the kitchen door as her husband made his way back into the house, unable to pursue into the darkness. In the aftermath, the police descended upon the store, and an inquest into Mussen's death followed, with a verdict of willful murder against some persons unknown. A local constable later wrote a letter to the Empire newspaper regarding Joseph Sharpe, who valiantly chased the bushrangers from the store and fired upon them with his pistol and shotgun. 3 weeks passed with no leads, until another robbery was reported in Kuyal, targeting a widow who ran a small store. This time, the police swiftly tracked down the culprits to a hidden hut in the bushland near Hill End. Intriguingly, Campbell, one of the arrested men, revealed crucial information that pointed to 2 former residents, James McGrath and George Gibson, alias Captain Moonlight and Paddy Tom. The search paid off, and the fugitives were captured in Dubbo, over 100 miles from Pyramul Creek. Gibson bore unhealed gunshot wounds on his shoulder. Gibson and Campbell faced trial for the murder of Alexander Mussen, and the evidence presented by Sharpe and his wife strongly implicated Gibson as the gunman who had killed Mussen. Gibson's shoulder wounds provided damning proof against him, though he claimed they were boil scars and tick bites. As the trial unfolded, Campbell testified that days after the Sharpe tragedy, he had seen Gibson bedridden at a digger's hut, complaining of pain in his side and shoulder. When the plan for the Coyle store robbery was hatched, Gibson declined, stating he had had enough. For a while, though, he was seen molding bullets and mentioned feeling more comfortable now that he had got the lead pellets out of his shoulder. Gibson proclaimed his innocence throughout the trial, but the jury swiftly delivered their verdict. McGrath was released due to insufficient evidence, but Gibson was convicted and sentenced to death. He languished in Bathurst's condemned cell until the fateful day of execution. On the eve of his execution, Gibson, visited by the warder every half hour, displayed a strange calmness, repeatedly stating, "My time is getting shorter. I'll soon be in another world." At 4 o'clock in the morning, he savored a final meal of tea and toast, remarking, "That's the last I shall want in this world." Gibson maintained his innocence until the end, and just before his execution, he signed a statement declaring his unwavering belief in his innocence, claiming he had never committed murder and that the scars on his body were from ailments and other incidents, not gunshots. In the dim light of a misty morning, as a somber crowd watched from below, George Gibson paid the ultimate price for a crime he insisted he did not commit. The echoes of his protestations and the mystery surrounding that fateful night in Pyramul Creek lingered in the hearts and minds of those who bore witness to the deadly holdup in the Australian outback. This story, written by Jeff Chapman, great-great-grandson of Joseph Sharpe. In the next part of this story, we will read the heartfelt letter penned by Joseph Sharpe and sent back to Alexander's family in Montreal, Canada. If you liked this story, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for the next episode. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you again soon.